Been lit, boy. Everything goes.
We now return you to regular programming.
What is up, guys? Welcome back to the Everything Goes podcast with your lovely host here on the screen. Looks like he shaved, man. I'm a little sad by that, but it is what it is. Hope you guys had a great Thanksgiving. But hey, we got a lot to talk about, just like the Browns take down the Bucks as they get ready for Deshaun Watson's return. I shouldn't sound happy about that. There's a lot going on there.
He's playing
cancel
the
me.
Texans.
Don't cancel
He's playing
me.
the Texans too.
Revenge,
Revenge game, yeah. Hey, the Wolverines stomped their flag into the Big O as Michigan whoops Ohio State 2 years in a row. No excuses, no snow. Beautiful day. It is what it is. Wolverines just the better team right now. Hey, the legend of Mike White returns as he performs with 300 passing yards and 3 touchdowns as the Jets are flying high right now in New York. And what is wrong in Denver as Broncos Nation falls to 3-8? Gosh, man, a lot going on, a lot to talk about. Guys, how was your Thanksgiving? It's a pleasure to be here with you again every Monday.
Real good.
First time having a peach cobbler pie. I bought from a small business owner, and family loved it. So
I never had that. Is that good?
Oh my God. Yeah, she did amazing. It tasted so good amongst, the apple and the pumpkin pie. So
I'm a big apple pie guy.
What about sides? What's your go-to sides?
Oh, I'm a big mashed potatoes. Definitely. You got to have your taters. Definitely. That's a definite.
I like stuffing. I'm a fan of stuffing.
I was just going to say, I feel like, Dad, correct me if I'm wrong. I feel like we've never been a big stuffing family. Once in a while, somebody brings it. So I've never had a good taste for stuffing. I never really tried it. Like I tried it once or twice, but I don't remember.
Homemade mac and cheese, mashed potatoes, Brussels sprouts with bacon.
Oh, I missed that.
That's the kind of things that we make in the Klein household. As you can see, I feel a little fat. I've been doing nothing but hibernating and eating all week.
I love corn too. Don't forget corn. It's corn.
Yeah, we had some of that. We've never had mac and cheese, and this year was the first time we didn't have.
I was gonna say we've never had mac and cheese before. That was definitely your first time making it.
No, it's not. I made it the last 3 years.
Really? Where was I?
Yeah. In love, that's where you were. And I don't know why you eat corn. Corn's a wasteful thing. It comes out the same way it goes in.
Still fills you up. Isn't that weird that we don't digest that?
Yeah.
It's like what in our
weird.
body doesn't allow us to digest that? It's so strange. It's also a very good fishing bait. We used to use for trout.
Nice.
Well, hey, happy y'all had a great Thanksgiving. We're here to talk about the latest sports headlines. Dad, I know you got some baseball you want to break down for us. You're quick around the horn, as we say. Get ready to throw that ball around the horn. Here we go.
Well, first of all, to answer your question about Denver, the problem is Russell Wilson still has more bathrooms in his house than he does touchdowns thrown. So that's one of his problems. But they are a mess. They really are. You have defensive players coming after them.
Broncos Nation, let's ride.
Yeah, that's right. Okay. Anyway, and by the way, they're stuck in that contract. That's like a 5-year deal. They're stuck in $153 million guaranteed.
I've been saying this though. I've been calling this that they're gonna have the worst year this year, where the fans and the players are gonna turn away from them, and then watch them come out next year and dominate because it's year 2 where they have chemistry.
Yeah. All right. Around baseball, real quick, around the horn.
Hey, here we go.
There's not too much going on right now. Spring training is coming up in 2.5 months. Things should be heating up by the Christmas time, hopefully. The Astros, by the way, are making moves. I mean, they just got better. They signed 35-year-old Jose Abreu, signing a 3-year deal, $20 million with the Astros. The first concern everyone had is his durability because he's an older player, but he's ranked right now 4th in American. He's actually ranked 4th in baseball for games played since 2019. So the guy does play a lot. Miggy comes out and confirms that 2023 will be his last year playing. The 39-year-old. He's a 12-time All-Star, 2-time MVP, 7-time Silver Slugger, 4-time batting champ, 1-time World Series champion. 2012 became the first Triple Crown winner, leading the AL in batting average of 330, home runs 44, RBIs 139. Since Carl Yastrzemski did it in 1967.
They're like never good.
This makes me feel so old. Sorry, real quick. I saw him. I remember him coming up like in 2003 or 2. Yeah, I remember one of his, like when he first came onto the scene. I think it was the playoffs for them or something, or maybe he was like the September call up. God, that's mind boggling.
And his stats are amazing. He's going to be a first-time Hall of Famer, first bid, like how Jeter went in.
Their team has never been good though for some reason. Yeah. I mean, they've been okay once in a while. They went to the playoffs, but like Detroit's never been like a great team.
Yeah. He had 308 career batting average, a 908 OPS, 507 home runs, 1,847 RBIs, 3,088 hits, and 1,530 runs. He's one of 7 hitters in MLB history to accumulate 500 home runs and 3,000 hits, joining Hank Aaron, Willie Mays, Eddie Murray, Rafael Palmeira, Albert Pujols, and Alex Rodriguez. That there is that's right there saying he's the first bid Hall of Famer. He's born.
Yeah, he will be definitely.
Justin Verlander, who turns 40 in February, has a meeting with the Dodgers set up amid the Yankees and the Mets' interest.
Of course.
Real quick. How crazy is it that he's about like 40 and he's still like a hot free agent? That's how good he is.
The only thing bad about him is his strikeouts per game has gone down. His velocity is still good. Everything else is still good. He did give up 11 runs in 2 starts in the World Series, so that is of concern. But God, I would love to have
bring him in New York, baby. Bring him in New York.
Now, Aaron Judge did have his meeting with the Giants, and supposedly it was a really good meeting. They've met for several hours, and he did turn down a deal with the Dodgers. Apparently, my one concern that we did talk about is longevity with older players. He does turn 31, giving him a long-term contract. He has missed 142 out of 384 games between 2018 and 2020. His sprint speed has slipped from 80%. From the 80th percent to the 50th percent in just 3 years. He's already losing a step. So my thing is if the Yankees, and they still say the Yankees are the front runners for him, if your plan is to sign him, don't make it a long-term deal, because if he's slipping now, you don't want a 10-year deal, whatever. Give him 5 years, $200 million, $40 million a year, and be done with it.
Is there like a date that we should keep in mind that you guys know of in terms of when they could sign some of these guys? They're just kind of waiting it out.
Let's face it, he's gonna sit out as long as he can, because the longer he sits, the more beneficial he's gonna get. He's gonna have more people throwing money at him.
I do think it's gonna come down to the Yankees and the San Francisco Giants. So I mean, it's either you can go home or you can stay with the team that's been with you.
Now, my thing is the Yankees are always in the playoffs almost every year. They're always around 95 to 100 wins. The Giants, they won 100 wins 2 years ago. Last year they won 81 and 81, so they're on a decline. So I mean, if it's going to be a different park, he's not going to have that short porch.
But if Chris Bryant comes back healthy, and Aaron Judge and Jock Peterson, and if Brandon Crawford kind of gets back to him,
hasn't really done anything in how many years? So I don't worry about no Jock Peterson.
2 years ago, he played very well in the World Series.
He's an instant upgrade, no matter where he's in that, no matter what team he goes to.
But my thing is if you don't have pitching to go along with that talent, and the Giants, they dropped a lot of good players too. I mean,
was it Rendon their pitcher?
Yeah.
Oh, he might. That's the Twins guy. I want the Twins to get him.
Yeah.
Good luck.
So we'll see what happens with this, but it's going to be a while before we see anyone sign. White Sox signed Mike Clevenger, who had a 4.33 ERA last year with the Padres. Pittsburgh signs Carlos Santana, 36-year-old. Listen to this stat now. A 1-year, $6.7 million deal. The deal for 2023 is bigger than any free agent contract that the Pirates handed out last season. Pittsburgh has only $18,275,000 in active payroll before the addition of Santana. And that is insane.
And they traded for Choi, as if that's how you say his name, the first baseman from the Rays.
Yeah. Brian Hayes, Ryan Reynolds, and Miguel Andujar are the only players with guaranteed contracts.
There has to be they have the luxury or the salary cap or the luxury tax. There has to be a floor.
They have Andujar. They have Andujar.
Yeah.
That's a good young roster they got though.
But that's insane. You look at most of these teams, their salary cap. I mean, they're maxed out, $200+ million, and this team has $18 million on their books. That's crazy. Over a third of the MLB teams, 11 of them, are reportedly expected to pursue Cody Bellinger, 27-year-old. Yankees are one of those players, or one of those teams. The Twins are going hard for Correa. 8 teams are pursuing the shortstop, all-star shortstop.
Yes, sir.
2022, he enjoyed a solid campaign, 291, 366, and 467 slash lines, 22 home runs in 136 games. His 4.4 WAR ranked 9th among all shortstops per Fangraph.
Any Twins fan, don't listen to us if you don't want to re-sign him. Sorry if we have some Twins fans listeners that are going to bow out, but come on.
It says Turner, Bogarts, Correa, and Swanson. The market for them is good since there's 8 teams that are interested in just Correa right now. So The problem is until one of these guys signs, nothing's going to happen because one of these guys is going to sign and they're going to set the market for the shortstops. So don't expect nothing. I you know what? I would say late December, January. That's when you're going to start seeing signings. Big name signings.
I would agree. We saw that with Manny Machado and Bryce Harper.
And one last thing, the New York Yankees are trying to get Derek Jeter and Don Mattingly to join their Yes program to be broadcasters for the Yankees, which would be awesome.
I would love that. It's almost like NFL how they're bringing in these old stars to chat with them. I love that. I love that move.
Mm-hmm.
That's all I have for baseball.
Be good.
If you want to jump into NCAA, we can.
Football? Get the Michigan talk, Ohio State out of the way, and the fact that they're playing Purdue, I think, who has never won the Big Ten West since they kind of formed the division, so not that long, but I don't think Purdue's really actually played for the national title or the Big Ten championship in God knows how many years. So,
well, the AP poll came out, and right now Georgia, Michigan, TCU, USC, Ohio State, Alabama, Tennessee, Penn State, Washington, and Clemson make up the top 10. LSU dropped from 5 to 11 after their horrible loss to Texas A&M, which was crazy because they played Georgia this week. So they dropped down to number 11. Oregon, who was in a shootout with Oregon State, lost. Number 6, they fell to 15 after losing to Oregon State. Oregon State
South Carolina, man. South Carolina.
Oregon State actually jumped up into the top 15 now. They're actually doing well. Big games next week, man. Georgia, LSU, like I said, if LSU could freaking beat Georgia and Michigan wins, Michigan could be the number 1 team in the country.
Dude, that'd be awesome. That'd be real awesome.
And then we have TCU, who played nobody last week. I'm not sure who they played. Iowa State or somebody who was 4-7.
They played Baylor. I thought they played a Baylor. It was ranked.
That was a close Baylor.
No, they played last week. They played a team that was 4-7 last week. They played nobody. Okay. They blew them out like 35-4 or something like that. They play Kansas State. Well, Kansas State is a sneaky good team. I can see them knocking off TCU. If TCU falls, even though Ohio State doesn't play, I can see Ohio State or Alabama sneaking back into the top 4.
Yeah, they really do. Always do.
And then USC, who just knocked off Notre Dame, number 15 Notre Dame, plays Utah. So it's going to come down to those
USC
teams.
is good.
Who do you guys think should be the top 4 then? Is it still Georgia? At least, so for me, it'll be Georgia, Michigan, number 2. I think because TCU is undefeated, you throw them at 3, and
USC
4.
probably.
But
that's your top 4 right there, I think.
But see, my thing is since number 5 lost, I don't see how Ohio State, and I hate Ohio State, I don't see how Ohio State falls out of the top 4. I think if LSU won, then they clearly jumped them.
But TCU is undefeated, though.
But I understand that, but you got to look at the strength of schedule. TCU hasn't played anybody. I'd still put TCU at 3, but I would not have thrown Ohio State out. I would have kept Ohio State in the top 4.
I don't know why I thought they were 4 for some reason.
I don't think USC, even though they won, should have jumped LSU and Ohio State and went all the way up to 4.
But USC has played some tough games lately, though.
I understand that, but I think when you go 2 and number 3, I don't care who those teams are. I think it doesn't matter that we blew them out in the second half. I still think that as bad as I hate Ohio State should still be in there. I just don't think the pollsters want to see that.
I think regardless of how it's rated this week, USC has a chance to beat Utah next in the championship, Pac-12 championship. So if they win that, it's more than likely they're going to get in the playoffs because
I feel like USC had a little bit more challenging of a schedule than Ohio State did.
I don't know. I mean, you look at the Big Ten. I mean, at one point we had 4 or 5 teams ranked in the top 25. So I mean, it's not a bad. I mean,
now we have 3, right? I think it's just 3. I think it's 3.
Yeah,
still.
I think Penn State moved up. Penn State moved up. You know what I would actually do, and I know it won't do it because of geographics and all that. I would put Michigan in the other division. That way, you always get Michigan, Ohio State playing for the Big Ten championship.
That'd be a huge game.
You know what I mean?
That's not a bad idea because they are the top programs in the Big Ten.
But instead of having this game Thanksgiving all the time and every year, get rid of it. Let them play in the Big Ten championship. That would be so insane. You know, that would be, this is it. Everything's on the line. If you guys are ranked in the top 3 or top 4 or whatever the playoffs are going to be eventually, this is the money game right here. You have to win this game or go home.
Yeah.
Okay, real quick. So Alabama, toughest strength of schedule according to this teamrankings.com site. Say what
it
you
must
will
be
about
from
that.
Alabama.
So it's Alabama, Tennessee, Texas, Ohio State, and Georgia. And then Kansas State, LSU, Michigan, Texas, TCU, and Penn State. Top 10 for the toughest schedules. Southern Cal is all the way down at 36.
Wow.
Yeah.
oddly enough. So,
well, anyway, 17 million people watched the Michigan versus Ohio State game. It's the most watched regular season game since 2011. Michigan 12-0 for the first time since 1997, the year they won the national championship.
Did you see what that beat?
No.
Did you see what that record beat? Did you have that listed?
I have. No, go ahead.
It like that it's like the most views out of like any NBA playoff game, MLB game, like anything like that beat like everything out of the water.
Yeah, ooh, we actually had two games, one in the NFL and one in college that set records. This is Michigan's first win in Columbus since 2000 and Ohio State's biggest defeat in Columbus since 1976. This is the interesting part, and this is what's going to be huge for Jim Harbaugh, who got a $500,000 bonus for beating that Ohio State. Since Friday, Michigan has landed 4 players from the state of Ohio since Friday. Okay, ooh. The latest being a 2023 4-star Jason Hewlett. They also picked up 3 more commitments since their victory.
2 of them were at the game.
That's what I was about to get to. Ohio's Ohio's one of their top DBs, Cameron Calhoun, a former Cincinnati commit, was a visitor for Ohio State at the game. He committed to Michigan right after the game.
There's a Twitter video out right now where Jim's talking after the game. Like he's in the meeting room, with the microphone, and 2 defensive players come to sit with him. And the way he interacts with them and hugs them, like people are like, that's a legit coach. Like that's how he is. He's not putting on an act. Like he loves his players. He knows your name. It's not just I don't know you, punch your ticket in, punch it out. And that's why I think people are committed.
Well, what's amazing is Michigan's beat up. Michigan, Donovan Edwards, who was he's actually the running back named Big Ten Offensive Player of the Week. He had a career game, 22 carries, 216 yards, 2 touchdowns, runs of 75 and 86.
Terrible first half.
Which helped put together one. He has a broken hand. He has a cast on his hand. If you notice in that game, he couldn't put 2 hands on the ball. They could have stripped him. That shows you how strong his hand strength is. He held that ball several times with one hand, and he couldn't put his second hand on that ball. The thing that's amazing about that game is, and I was screaming at the TV all game long. They played loaded box, safety all the way down in the box where the linebackers play. And I said to my son all day, Noah, over the top. This is wide open over the top. What did they do? They started making plays over the top.
JJ looked good.
And they opened it up. And then what happened? They had to drop the safeties back a little bit. What happened? The offensive line stepped up and the running game took off. We had like 70 yards maybe rushing in the first half. We were trailing.
Less than that.
We were trailing 20-17 in the first half. We went on a 28-3 run. 28-3. And you know what's amazing? And it drove me absolutely nuts. Michigan played soft coverage the whole game. We gave them underneath all day. We got hardly any pressure on C.J. Stroud. I think we had 1 sack, and that was it. And then he had that costly turnover, the interception later on, which I thought was an underhand pass, but they didn't call it. But the thing about Michigan is we didn't have one of our best defensive linemen playing, but we got to generate pressure. We definitely have to generate a pressure. Michigan is great against the run, against the pass, and getting pressure. It just sounds like the Dallas Cowboys in college. But we have got to generate because Purdue, Purdue's in a championship for a reason. And you can go in there with a big head and you can lose.
Hey, and JJ McCarthy, which I only think he's like 19 years old as our QB, I've been saying all week, hey, this is the game that he needs to step up because I feel like when he first won the QB battle, he had a strong arm and you saw him being able to be mobile. And then Blake Corum steps up and it was the Blake Corum show and you didn't really see much of JJ. And that first half, I said, wow, like this kid, he's going to lose his value. He's not showing that he can lead this team. And then, like you said, they started playing that no coverage in the back, the light coverage, and he was just hitting bomb after bomb after bomb. And he was moving around the pocket. He was running, using his legs, making plays happen. And I was like, that's the JJ that won the starting job. Now, if you can get him and Blake Corum going at the same time, no one's going to stop that.
The only thing JJ has to work on is he has to work on being more consistent, hitting guys that are wide open. He had several guys that were wide open, and he overshot them. Yeah. But Michigan had 5 plays of over 45 yards, which was huge.
It was like the most.
It was really huge.
I don't know if it was a single game against Ohio State or the most in a Michigan game. I forget what the stat there was.
It was a great game, really good game. Nobody ever expected Michigan to go into Columbus and beat them. They thought last year was a fluke. And I tell you what, this is huge for Michigan. It's going to rebuild that program, and this could be the swing point now. This could be the swing where Michigan dominates for the next 5 or 6 years.
I did feel bad. I saw a video of CJ Stroud being interviewed. Like, how do you think people are going to remember you? And he's like, obviously, I think people are going to remember me because I never beat Michigan in the 2 years I've been here. If this is my last year, but he talked about, he was very, and I gave him credit to this because he was very respectful. And he was very humble in the way he approached the interview. He was like, for those that do respect me and do understand how hard I worked for this team, I appreciate him, but at the end of the day, I know I didn't win those games, and I hope I get opportunities like that in the future.
What's amazing, that kid has a bright future in the NFL. And another amazing stat, and I might be botching this, but I think that Marvin Harrison Jr. had 99 consecutive catches without a drop.
Yeah,
and he had his first
or
drop.
It was like, was it 19 games with like so many catches and no drop? Something. It was weird.
Crazy stat. That kid's going to be amazing. That kid has a bright future in the NFL. And that other Ohio State receiver starts with an O. I don't know his name. I'm going to botch that too.
Oh, that's a tough one. That's a tough one.
Ohio State has great running backs, and they have great receivers that always come out. And just amazing. It was a great game. Well, I'm glad it ended the way it did.
I hope Stroud is not in a line of somewhat of the bust quarterbacks too. He seems like he's a little more accurate than some of the others, but we'll see.
Great arm. Great arm. And he makes great decisions.
Accuracy too. Great accuracy. He doesn't control the defense, man. At the end of the day, he doesn't control the defense.
Guys,
go ahead.
Do you want to finish your thought? Because I was going to segue into.
I have one more thing for the Big Ten. There was a bunch of coaching changes. I told you guys earlier that Luke Fickell is going to Wisconsin. He was the head coach of Cincinnati. Nebraska hired Matt Rule. David Shaw, the winningest coach in Stanford history, announced he's stepping down. He was 96-54. The school has gone 14-28 since 2019. He has back-to-back 3-9 losses, 3-9 season. Anyway, the real one thing no one ever talked about the MSU Michigan brawl that happened in the tunnel. I didn't realize that the Big Ten suspended one of the players. Kahari Crump has been suspended for 4 games already this year. They came out today and said he's going to be suspended 8 more games of the 2023 season following the post-game tunnel fight versus Michigan. Big Ten also announced that decision today, saying that Michigan was reprimanded for not giving enough security and help inside the tunnels and not taking care of the tunnel situation because they had problems before against Penn State. Michigan State also suspended Tank Brown, Angelo Gross, Justin White, Jacoby Winsome, Brandon Wright, Zion Young, and Malcolm Jones. They already were suspended for 4 games. The Big Ten said that's sufficient enough that they can play next year. I haven't heard anything about this. I really haven't.
Wow.
I haven't. Yeah, I didn't hear anything about that. Yeah. But that's the NCAA news.
No, we can't forget about our Gophers. The Golden Gophers beat Wisconsin on the road, which I just read an article. The wide receiver for the Badgers, one of the wide receivers, is transferring to Minnesota next year.
Oh, really?
So kind of interesting. You brought up the fact that Ohio State recruits or recruits that were kind of on the fence are going to Michigan now after that game. And honestly, I think it's because Gophers have one of the highest recruited quarterbacks they've had in a while, who started the last few games for them. Ethan, I'm going to butcher Kaliamanakis. I knew I'd butcher his last name, but he's arguably the highest rated recruit that we've had for sure at the quarterback position. And he's a lot more accurate. He's athletic. He lit it up. And the fact that he wasn't like, we had Tanner Morgan, who's a 5th-year senior, so you kind of got to give him his due. But he was, I feel like they listed him as injured the last handful of games. I feel like that was more of a healthy scratch because he really was not producing at all. So Gophers end 8-4. Not honestly,
good season.
Yeah, pretty good season. I thought we should have beaten Iowa last week, and that would have helped things out.
Did Purdue beat you guys?
I don't think we played Purdue this year, but they just had a better conference record. Yeah, we didn't play them this year.
Because you were 8-4,
sorry,
so
they did. Yeah,
they were
did
both
beat
8-4.
Damn it! But they also
it would be Minnesota against Michigan in the championship.
If we beat Iowa, if we would have beaten Iowa and Wisconsin, I think we would have taken it because we would have had a better conference record than Purdue.
Wow.
So
I have 2 more notes I just saw now on my page. Cade McNamara, the old quarterback for Michigan, is going into the transfer portal, and he's leaving Michigan. And Deion Sanders confirms rumors of Colorado offering him the head coaching job. Deion, who is 11-0 and playing in the SWAC championship versus Southern. Colorado is 1-11 this year, ranked 124th, lowest position for a Power 5 school. The school has more double-digit losses seasons in the season 5 than bowl appearances 3 since Gary Barnett resigned in 2005.
He'd get people there, man. He would get people there.
Hey, he got the number one recruit overall last year, Travis Hunter, to go to freaking Jackson State. So
that's what's crazy too, is because what about all the people that went to Jackson State because of everything he had there? And it's like, all right, you're leaving. Like, can I change schools then? Because I mean, maybe they transfer. Maybe they like it there. Don't get me wrong, but
no, that was a rumor. He's not going to Colorado.
It's a rumor. He hasn't left though.
He confirmed.
There's no way he's not going to Colorado.
It's confirmed. It's true that they offered him the position. It was a rumor until he confirmed that they actually.
But he didn't take it yet, though. So we'll see what happens.
Money talks, man.
Luke Fickell going to Wisconsin is a very odd move for me because sure, Wisconsin kind of had a down year, but isn't Cincinnati going to the Big 12 soon? Like, that just seems like an odd move. They're still going to have. I don't know when they plan on expanding the playoffs, but I think Cincinnati moving to a bigger conference is going to help them overall. And he just signed an extension
too.
Yeah.
But look at all the teams that are going to the SEC. So,
yeah,
I don't know. Anyway, they're saying Big Ten, SEC are going to be the two dominant freaking divisions in college football.
Well, yeah, but I mean, it's freaking Michigan and Ohio State literally makes up the weight of the Big Ten. Sadly,
we'll transfer into the NFL here. This week, the Washington Commanders announced they were going to release and show the Sean Taylor. What do you even call it? Mannequin.
Embarrassing.
Ace, why don't you ask? Why don't you start with the question you have? Because this probably will be my answer.
Oh, the most awkward moment of the weekend. So I went through 4. Obviously, could probably pick more. Sean McVay getting hit by what Chris said, his rookie, some player that clearly was late to get out onto the field, gets decked by him. I
saw it in slow motion, man. It's hilarious.
Oh God, Russell Wilson, the guy that keeps giving for all of the NFL and all of the media, getting yelled at by a teammate on the sidelines. Zach Wilson, a healthy scratch for the Jets, and of course Mike White balling out. And then the Sean Taylor. You can't even call it a statue, a mannequin. They wouldn't even put that in a clothing store. It was just embarrassing.
My answer would be just Sean Taylor. You know, I saw the Bleacher Report notification, like the Commanders release Sean Taylor's like dedication. I don't remember what they called it. I was like, oh, this probably be sick, man. And not that it's not cool. It looks like something you would see from like a 1930s museum, though. You know what I mean? It's like the mannequin isn't even nice. I mean, like Sean Taylor, who is this huge, iconic kind of player, you know what I mean? Like hard hit and safety guy. And that's what his family's there and everything. Dude, like
Jesus.
I mean,
this is the second time they tried to do something for him. The first time they put his number on the field, remember? And that guy was dancing on it.
Yeah, Patrick Mahomes' brother, Jackson Mahomes.
He's dancing all over it. Now they're doing this. Everyone thought that they were going to have a statue out in front of the freaking stadium for him. And they get him a mannequin.
And why not? You know what I mean? Why not?
This is Washington. This is the Washington Commanders, who has sewage problems leaking down through the freaking old stadium ceiling. It's just, it's a mess. It's a mess. The whole organization's a mess. They need to sell it, and they need to just get rid of them.
The fact that they don't even have, like, I don't even know if this was his actual jersey, but the fact that, like, they don't even have memorabilia kind of surrounding it. It's just like,
you know, they could have made something so cool, man. Like, we're in 2022, going to 2023. You tell me that's the best thing with all the money you have that you can make for him. What's your guys' answer? Because that's my most awkward moment of this week.
I got to agree with that. I mean, the others are pretty awkward as well, knowing how crappy those teams have been playing. So, but I got to go with Taylor. Just, you know, rest in peace to him. And
the one you didn't mention, what the hell happened to Nick Saban's face, man? Like, he looked like at his press conference, he had like a bloody eye and he had a swollen cheek. I never found out what happened to him because I was more interested in the Michigan game, but he looked like he was all beat up.
Jeez. I'm going to look at that quick. I did not see that. Bloody cheek goes viral. Oh. He's Iron Bowl with a bloody, maybe he bit his lip. Or maybe he beat I have no clue. That's a good one though. I didn't think
maybe
of
he headbutt one of his players, you know? I don't know.
Hey, just 2 news articles I saw, how just recent transactions that have happened within the past couple of days. 49ers have signed Janoris Jenkins to be a backup cornerback for them. Signed him to practice squad, but he'll probably be elevated. Chiefs are signing Melvin Gordon. Gordon appeared in 10 games for the Broncos this season, only tallying 90 carries for 318 rushing yards with 2 touchdowns and 25 catches for 223 yards. Everyone thought that this would be his chance to step up because obviously their young running back did tear his ACL, but he only posted 9 carries in 5 of his last 7 games and lost some time due to Latavius Murray being signed from the Saints. And then he also fumbled 5 times this season. So obviously not the season he's looking to have. But I mean, they say he's going to get elevated quickly for the Chiefs and get some playing time.
Wow.
Which I'm a little shocked the Chiefs signed, but hey, you went from a terrible Denver team to you're a Super Bowl contender, possibly going to get a ring now. So, he's happy. He doesn't care if he's the 3rd string running back on that team or anything. You know what I mean?
Yep. It's kind of about legacy right now. I didn't hear it. That's crazy. And especially in the division too.
Dad, I know that you have that list of running backs, and I'll let you run that off. But before you run that off, I'll ask you guys the question just for these 4 running backs. If you had to sign one of these free agent running backs to be this offseason, just at the top of your head, not necessarily debating here, like if you're just, who would you take? Who would you re-sign this offseason? You have Saquon Barkley, Josh Jacobs, Tony Pollard, or Kareem Hunt. Out of those 4, which one do you sign to? Let's be real, it's going to be like a 4-year deal kind of thing. That's kind of the deal that they've been getting. But if you had to pick from one of those 4,
I'm taking the youngest. I'm taking the youngest player and the most healthiest.
This is tough when I think about this because Saquon is having a very good rushing year, but he's been injured like 3 out of 4 years he's played. Tony Pollard is just stellar this season.
Is Pollard the youngest? Pollard's the youngest then, and then probably Chubb and Barkley. Okay.
Dude, there's 12 running backs on this list. It's an amazing list.
Yeah. But out of these 4, let's just focus on these 4.
I want the cheapest. I want the cheapest and the youngest.
Well, you're re-signing him, so whatever the contract's going to be, it's on your table. I'm just saying.
I want the cheapest and the youngest.
I think Tony Pollard and Josh Jacobs are the 2 I might be. Saquon is like, I want to say Saquon, but man, I just don't know if I sign him to a 4-year deal, how many of those years is he going to play? I mean, you could say that with any player, I guess, but just looking at his past, he's having a great rushing year.
Saquon's last on my list because he's injury prone.
I'm going to say Nick Chubb.
Nick Chubb's on this list. Nick Chubb's on this list.
Oh, my bad. It was Jacobs. I heard
Kareem Hunt, Josh Jacobs, Tony Pollard, Saquon.
Tony Pollard's led the league the last 2 years in yards per attempt over 6. So
I think Tony Pollard or Josh Jacobs. I'm really leaning towards Josh Jacobs. I kind of like Josh Jacobs.
Saquon's on there either.
Yeah, Saquon's the last of the list.
That's tough. Go ahead and read that list off, though, of all the free agent running backs that are going into this year.
Josh Jacobs, Saquon Barkley, Miles Sanders, Tony Pollard, David Montgomery, Kareem Hunt, Jamal Williams, Damian Harris, Jeff Wilson Jr., Devin Singletary, Rasheem Mostert, and Rashad Penny are all free agents next year.
Who have all been starters this year, which is crazy. All of them.
The list is amazing. You know what? This list is going to be just like those freaking shortstops in baseball. It's going to come down to who gets signed first, and whatever amount that is, they're going to succeed that and jump that and go past that, which is ridiculous. Just like there's rumors out there saying that Hurst might be a $50 million quarterback next year with his extension. I hope to God the Eagles do that and freaking tie their hands with freaking dead out the ass.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm hoping
signing anyone else.
I'm hoping the Saints look into one of these running backs. Mark Ingram's old. I think he's a free agent next year. Alvin Kamara can't do it all on his own. You bring in someone like a David
Jeff
Montgomery
Wilson?
or a Josh Jacobs who can run heavy, and then Alvin Kamara can be that receiving back. I like Jeff Wilson. He was great with the 49ers, and he's playing well with the Miami Dolphins. But I would want more of a heavy back, that guy that will run downfield and kind of stick it right through you. But I think
Ace is right, though. I think Ace is right, though. Tony Pollard has the less use. I mean, he's got the most to give you. And all these guys that played for the 49ers, I mean, 49ers always had 3 or 4 running backs. They've always split it up. So all those wheels on those guys are fresh. But those aren't guys that are going to give you 33 carries like Josh Jacobs just did on freaking Sunday. So
if the Saints signed Jacobs or Monty, David Montgomery, or even Jeff Wilson, or I don't think they'd sign Barkley.
We don't got the money for
it. That would be a great 1-2 punch. But again, I think there's more problems with the quarterback position than anything else.
That's why I'm praying to God that Sean Payton comes out of retirement to get traded for a draft pick so we can get a quarterback.
And this list could get bigger because June 1st cuts could be another name on here, Ezekiel Elliott.
That'd be a good punch, Ezekiel and Alvin Kamara.
I think
I'm just saying Zeke could be on that list because after a June 1st cut, it's only a $5 million dead cap hit.
Oh.
Other than, or they got to sign him $16 million next year. His deal's for $16 million. Yeah, yeah. Unless he renegotiates his deal. So
another thing to talk about is obviously Aaron Rodgers left the game early yesterday. I think it was in the third quarter after they were trailing the Eagles with what was to look like a rib injury. According to ESPN, there was an initial fear that Rodgers had suffered a punctured lung, but he underwent x-rays at the stadium that showed that he didn't have a punctured lung, but it was hard to tell if he had any fractured ribs. I know that LaFleur came out and said that Rodgers is feeling better today, but then you had Jordan Love come in, who stepped in with 6 of 9 passing with 113 yards and a touchdown and a huge touchdown, and they were trailing the Eagles, I think, by only 6 points at one point, 1 touchdown away. I mean, if I'm the Packers, I think what you saw out of Jordan Love last night, even though it was 6 of 9, you're like, all right, is this? I think everyone in the league is thinking this. Is this the end of Aaron Rodgers? Let me ask you guys that question. Do you think this is the last year Aaron Rodgers will be a Packer?
No.
With how young those receivers are and how young the team is, you don't think they rebuild around Jordan Love?
I think they have too big of a cap hit.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely. He just signed a 2-year, $100 million contract. I think this is good for them because, they didn't want to have to bench Aaron Rodgers to see what Love's going to give to them. So the injury does help them. And they can say to Aaron, hey, you know what? We're eliminated from the playoffs almost. So, you know what? Take the rest of the season off. But I don't know. I don't know how his contract's structured, if there's a player option or a team option on next year. But you're giving him $50 million. There's no way in hell that he's not going to be the starter next year.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And not only that, their defense has been an absolute disappointment. They gave up over 300 rushing yards to the Eagles. They got to be dang near dead last in yards given up on the ground all year. It's just been a total disaster. They can't get any defensive pressure up, like the defensive tackle. No defensive line pressure whatsoever. The corners have been completely embarrassed to some degree most of the year. It's been it's hard to look at their season and be like, you can't really blame it too much on the offense, but at the same time, it's like both, special teams has been terrible most of the year and the defense has not done at all what you would expect out of them.
And you know what the positives for Green Bay is? The last couple of weeks, they're clicking. I mean, they put up 20 plus points against Dallas. They had the letdown again the week before. A week after Dallas, they put up 33 last night. Aaron Rodgers' 2 interceptions is what killed them. Other than that, they might win that game. Like you said, the Eagles are the first team to 10 wins. They've beaten Green Bay. But the Eagles, they had 363 yards last night rushing. It was shy of the 376 yards they put up against Washington in 1948 or 1990. I can't read my own writing. Hurts is the only quarterback in the last 30 years to have 100 plus rushing yards in a single quarter. My thing is, you know what? And I said this a couple weeks back, the Eagles do not scare me. The Eagles rushing defense is horrible. They're not as good as everyone's saying they are. Hurts is good with his legs. He's not good with his arm. He's starting to fade a little bit. He's having turnovers in games. So the Eagles, to me, are very beatable. And I can't wait until they play Dallas because and I'm not trying to toot Dak's horn, but since Dak's back, Dallas offensively is one of the top teams in the NFL right now. Points scored, they're averaging almost 38 points a game. So things are turning around. Dallas's defense is amazing. They're lights out. They're second behind the 49ers. They were the number 1 team before the 49ers played on Sunday. So, it's going to be interesting. And Dallas, I said it. I'm going to keep saying it. If the Eagles lose one more game going into Dallas Christmas Eve, man, Dallas is winning that division. Dallas will be the number 1. Dallas will be the number 1 team in the NFL.
Can we quickly pivot to so the Vikings play the Jets next week, and with the QB carousel, I was kind of like Rodgers is hurt. Who knows if he's going to play next week? Does Mike White deserve the start next week?
Absolutely.
Oh my God!
Agreed.
You guys want to just transfer into predictions for Week 13?
No,
we can look back at the games too.
Real quick, this is our NFL tiers: 10-win teams, Eagles; 9-win teams, the Chiefs and the Vikings; 8-win teams, Dallas and Miami; 7. By the way, Miami plays the 49ers next week in San Francisco.
Ooh.
The left tackle and the right tackle for Miami are out. Tua might be running for his life.
Good luck.
But 7-win teams, you got the Titans, the Ravens, the Bengals, the Jets, the Giants, the 49ers, and Washington. Now, the thing about the NFC Beast, which is the NFC East, A lot of them haven't played each other yet. So the Giants have to play Washington 2 times. The Cowboys got to play the Eagles again. The Giants play the Eagles again. So that's not going to end up being the best division of football because we haven't played each other yet. 6-win teams right now are the Pats, Chargers, and Seahawks. And there's a bunch of teams that are floating around 4 and 5 wins that still have a chance to get into playoffs. But the field is starting to get wide open now. So
it's so sad entering like a new era of football where you see the Packers, the Saints, the Steelers, like these teams that have always been good just are so bad this year, man. It's so tough to be a fan, but hey.
Dude, one crazy stat of the weekend, Tom Brady was 218-0, went up 7 points or more, or 7 points or more in the last 2 minutes of a regulation game until the the Browns beat them in overtime. So he's now 218-1.
Wow, and that's insane.
2 upsets that I would say happened this week is the Raiders putting 40 points up on the Seahawks and beating them. Geno Smith still had a huge game, 300 passing yards and like 3 touchdowns. Another one I would say is the Jaguars going for a 2-point conversion and beating the Ravens. Gosh, that was. Remember when the Colts lost? But
what did Justin Tucker do? He missed a 65-yarder to win it.
They still lost.
Did he really?
I'm just saying. Yeah, they have so much faith in his leg that they went for a 65-yard field goal.
That's insane that they still had a chance to win it at the end because I saw them take the lead, the Ravens. I had to turn the game off, whatever. Did not see that the Jaguars came down and scored, so I just assumed there was literally no time left. That's nuts. Didn't the Chargers also go for 2 to beat the Cardinals?
Yes. That was
which
good.
I absolutely love. I love it. I'm not a huge fan of Russell Wilson or Kyler Murray. They just don't really, I don't know. I don't like their attitude.
I am so happy that the Cardinals keep losing because the Cardinals and the Chargers are 2 teams that they are saying Sean Payton has his eyes on. And if he would come out this year, not saying he would, because I think he's only got like 1 year left. He could wait another year. If he loves the Saints though, and he came out and was like, all right, I want to get traded, I think they could at least get a 1st-round pick for Sean Payton. A lot of people disagree, but hey, Gruden, they gave up a lot for Gruden when he went to Oakland. And they have a top 5 pick right now. Just saying, the Saints need a quarterback. Saints need a quarterback so bad, unless they want to go get one in the offseason.
You know what's funny too? Is why is it this is the year where players are coming out and just basically, instead of taking it as a team loss, no, now they're turning their backs on coaches and teammates and everything else. And they're just, Kyler Murray came out and said their scheme's broken, basically going against their coach and saying the scheme's broken. That's the problem.
You think about it, though, the Cardinals are so different night and day, though, compared to what they've looked like the past 2 years, though. Like that offense has looked really good the past couple of years. Now they look terrible. And hey, the Jets, dude, I mean, I was watching the Jets game at the airport. You got guys like Wilson, the receiver, the rookie receiver. I mean, and Elijah Moore, like these guys, dude, they were flying through the field with Mike White. Mike White looked good, man. I get it. They played a Bears secondary that was injured, and the Bears aren't the greatest defense right now. But it was raining, and Mike White was throwing bullets. That black uniform that they wear is so nice, man. Like it is so hard not to want to hop on the Jets bandwagon right now and just like not even a bandwagon, like. It is so cool to see a team that has like, as long as I can remember, has been booty cheeks my whole like career. You know what I mean? Like
we'll allow it because it's opposite division. Saints aren't going to the playoffs.
Well, settle down. You never know. Dude, I think as a football fan, man, like it's just like that's so cool. Like you got a guy like Mike White who's like, you know what, screw it. Like that 1st-round pick, Zach Wilson. Like I can beat him out. And they're 7-4. Like how amazing is that? They're better than half the teams in the league against the Jets.
Dude, they got a great defense.
They
have a great defense. Speaking of uniforms, I gotta honestly say I actually like the Eagles uniforms last night. The Eagles
those
blacks too, right?
Nice. Their uniforms are sharp, man.
Yeah,
and, I've always liked the Eagles uniforms. Another uniform too is the Commanders. That black uniform they wore. It was raining too against the Falcons. That's another guy too. Heineke, he's 4-1 since he's been a starter. Now they moved to 7-5. What does that show for Carson Wentz? Does he get traded again this offseason, or does he just stay as a backup quarterback in the Commanders? Maybe have an open competition at QB next offseason? And where does that take Carson Wentz? I would cry. I would cry if the Saints traded for. I'd be like, please don't. No.
It just seems like him, Baker Mayfield, Sam Darnold. There's a lot of like these random QBs that are
Yeah,
still
right.
sort of in their prime, young, like
Yeah.
mid-20s, whatever, that maybe could still have a shot somewhere else, but
They're running out of time. They're running
yes.
like Baker. I don't know what's going on with Baker. Sam Darnold looked good. He looked real good.
Yeah.
Against who the heck they played Denver, I think. They played
Denver. And that's a solid, very, very solid
defense. That's been a top 10 defense all year.
Yeah,
Carson,
they had a letdown though. They had their first letdown.
Yeah.
Carson Wentz and like
all.
Carson Wentz has had moments too, man, where he shined. He's had a cannon. Like the first couple games of the year, he was like throwing like 300 passing yards, 2 touchdowns, and then you just see him kind of hop into his old habits where he just doesn't hit guys. He throws interceptions.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what's going to happen with him.
There's like a different energy with Taylor Heineke, and the same with like Mike White. It just seems like there's different.
But that goes back to the playoff game against Tampa when Heineke came in. They loved him.
But honestly, their best win was against the Eagles. I mean, they lost to Minnesota. You know, just I would slow down. I don't think they're going anywhere. I just
NFC's wide open for a wild card right now.
It is. Right now, the whole NFC East is the playoffs. They're in the playoffs. If the season ended today, all those teams are in the playoffs. That's crazy.
Yeah,
it's crazy. But I would slow down a little bit. I mean, Heineke's having a great run here, but you know what? All he has to do is not make a mistake. Their running game is amazing. Their defense has really stepped up. So I would slow down a little bit.
Who do you think? Which teams that are in the playoffs right now slip out? At least if you look at the NFC, do you think that the Giants slide, the Commanders slide?
Giants have a lot of injuries. I think the Giants definitely are.
I could see the Giants slide. I honestly can. The Giants have not looked like I think the Giants, and we've said this from day one on the pod, not to rip on the Giants. It's been nice to see them win, but we've said on this podcast multiple times, yes, the Giants are good, but I don't think they're good. Like their record was good, but like they took a big hit out of injuries on receiver. I mean, if you could stop Saquon and make Daniel Jones really work, I mean, it's just, I love the head coach. I love the direction they're heading in. I just don't necessarily, I'm not scared. Same with the Bills, right? The Bills were this hot team. The Lions should have beat the Bills on Thanksgiving. I watched that whole game, man. If the Lions,
I called it.
If the Lions, and we've preached this all season, if the Lions can hold a team to 20 points or less, and this might be a hot take, they have 9 wins right now, in my opinion.
Yeah, because they would have beaten Seattle. Remember that?
How many games did they lose? How many games did they lose by like what 3? Like a field goal or a touchdown? Like I'm telling you, like the Lions' offense is no joke. I mean, and they are injured at wide receiver. When Swift is in there with Jamal Williams, he has the most rush touchdowns in the league right now.
I'm going to tell you something. This is going to be my hot take for next year. Green Bay Packers are going to be last in that division. You're going to see Chicago, who has 9 draft picks next year, $100 million in cap space, who's putting up over 20 points a game right now and turning it on. They have defensive problems as well since they got rid of everybody. Minnesota's going to be good.
Lions are going to win that division.
Detroit's going to be good.
Stop it.
It's going to be Detroit, Minnesota, Chicago. I'm telling you. Honestly,
you know what? Depending what they do with Kirk Cousins, that's a good question.
I think if the Lions don't sign, and I've heard people say this, if they don't sign Jared Goff back, I think that ruins the Lions. I don't think they're good next year. I think you go back to square one.
But so I was just looking at the standings quick. The only NFC East beast, however you want to call it, legitimately has a chance to get all 4 in, because I don't like the Seahawks 6-5. They're kind of next in line. The Falcons, the Lions really are the only contenders, and none of those are the Panthers and Saints, I guess, kind of have an outside.
But you're hoping
shot
for that last spot. Those are top 2 spots. At least 3 of the NFC East is going in.
Yeah, unless Giants injuries pick up and they lose what they've lost 2 straight, maybe they go on a 3-4 game losing streak.
We've seen it happen.
Out, but geez,
I'll tell you the 2 teams that I'm worried about in the playoffs, and they're both good teams, Buffalo and the Vikings. Buffalo because weeks 1 through 8, 180 attempts, Josh Allen's off-target rate was only 3.9%. He had a 72.20% completion rating, 5.8 yards attempt. Through weeks 9 through 12 with his arm injury, 90 attempts, his off-target rate is now up to 11%.
Yeah, he's struggling.
His completion percentage has dropped from 72 to 68. His yards per attempt are down from 5.8 to 4.9. And the biggest thing about the Bills as well, he's their main weapon. 80% of their offense goes through him, passing or running the ball. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They don't have a real good running game, and he does it all. If he continues to get beat up, his career is going to be short-lived. He's going to be another RG3 who ran and got hurt. My thing about the Vikings is, can they beat up on bad teams and stop having these close games against bad teams? You know what I mean?
Honestly, the Jets, like nobody.
That's a big game next week. That's a big game next week.
And the Jets, sure, they have a great defense.
Where's
but
it
you would
at?
think that Mike White, it's at home in Minnesota, which
Mike White
sure I just
does
saw
not
that.
care, baby. He's coming in.
He does play with that swagger. It seems like. Do the AFC East? They could potentially get all 4 teams in too. I don't think that's going to happen.
He's coming for Zach Wilson's mom.
Yo, you're of your next 6 games, only 2 of them are against teams with a winning record: the Jets and the Giants.
Yeah.
That's it.
The Jets, I think the Lions,
both of them could be wins.
Yeah.
Hey,
So that's the only 2 teams I really worry about, because I think those 2 teams have high ceilings if they can fix their problems.
Mm-hmm.
let's break down some of these picks because there's some big games next week. Some big games, right? We'll start it off right here, right? Saints and Bucks. And this is what I'm going to say right here. If the Saints have any shot of going for the division, if you truly believe that the Saints are going to win the division, it starts Monday, right? Because here it is, right? Saints have a long week right now. They don't play till Monday. 90% of their defense is back. Marshawn Lattimore, who is a stoppage. He is so good at covering Chris Evans, right? Chris Evans. Mike Evans. Yeah. Mike Evans. He's so good at shutting down Mike Evans. He will probably be back this week for the first time since like week 2. He was at practice last week. Our defense will almost be 100% healthy. And I think the Saints, to save their season, needs to either throw Taysom Hill or Jameis Winston in at quarterback to try and finish 9-8. Our schedule going forward is not a hard schedule at all, besides the Eagles. We could beat the Bucks. We could beat the Falcons. We could beat the Panthers. We could beat Cleveland. Actually, I don't know. Deshaun Watson's in there now. I still think we could beat them. We still have a top 10 defense. Like, if we can get some offensive going, this game is a must win. I'm taking the Bucks. I'll be honest. I'm going to take the Bucks. But the Saints have to win.
Who starts at quarterback for the Saints? Do you think they make the switch?
I think they have to make a switch. I think if they keep Andy Dalton in, I'm taking the Bucks. If they make a quarterback switch, I'm taking the Saints.
The problem is you guys got to win the division outright. I mean, you're 1-2 in your division. The Carolina Panthers
our next 4 weeks though.
But the Carolina Panthers are 3-1 in their division. They're only a game out of first place.
Mm-hmm.
So this division's wide open. I mean, it's you got 5-6, 5-7, 4-8, and 4-8.
I know.
So somebody's got to pull away. I mean, this is the worst division in football. I mean, this is what I mean. You're going to have a team with a sub 500.
Hey, gives fans hope. Gives fans hope.
But you're going to have a team with 13 wins or 14 wins. That's a wild card team that has to go on the road for every game.
Go cry home.
So
go cry.
It's not fair. No, it's not. It's not go cry. It's just not. It's not right.
They should keep the division winner that they can go to the playoffs, but lose their home field advantage.
Saints Bucks, like you mentioned, Monday night. Bucks play at San Francisco the week after, and
then
they play at home against Cincy against the Bengals. So yeah, and then on the road against Arizona, which honestly you don't know what you're going to get out of that team either. So that's a Chris. I don't know how long ago, how many weeks you said it, but there's definitely going to be a losing. They're going to have a losing record in that game.
It's not right
unless we finish 9-8, baby.
Look, I don't care if it's Dallas. I don't care who it is. I think if you have a
Dallas.
losing record. I'm just saying, if you have a losing record, you should not be playing a home game. I'm sorry, you don't deserve.
I agree with
but what if I'm not? What if I'm 9-8? What if I'm 9-8, baby?
9-8's different, Ty.
What if we finish 9-8 and Dallas?
What did I say? If you don't have a winning record, but I still think they should take the top 7 teams or 8 teams, whatever it is, and they should reseed them. They should reseed them.
Yep, I agree.
I agree. As long as I can make the playoffs, I win the division.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I agree. Okay. Who are you guys taking? I'm taking the Saints if they change quarterback. I'm taking the Bucks if the Andy Dalton's still in.
I'm taking the Saints. I got to go with the Saints. I said they're going to win a division.
Yeah, I'm going to go with the Saints too.
Do you know that still gives me hope every week when I cry and I hate my team? I just hear that little voice back in my head. My dad's like, I think the Saints are going to win the division. I'm like, I got to hold on to that hope.
I'm going to pick the Bucks. I'm going to take an arrow for you guys so that we're all not on the Saints in hopes that the Saints.
I thought we liked each other.
Look, my thing is about the Saints too. The Saints only allowed 13 points to the freaking 49ers.
Who were hot going into that game.
Yeah. And you know what? This just goes to prove that defensive coordinators don't make good head coaches.
No, dude. Dennis Allen. It's not even Dennis Allen, dude. Okay, first of all, I saw a video of Dennis Allen trying to yell at Kamara for a fumble compared to Sean Payton. Night and day compared. He's a trash head coach. Pete Carmichael is the worst offensive coordinator ever had. Taysom Hill was in only 42% of the snaps compared to last week when they won. It's just like, stay with the stuff that works. Like, I don't get it.
Look. Before you go out on a tangent like that, you got to remember something. Sean Payton's been a head coach for a long time. This is this guy's first year. You can't be going up and you can't be ripping your one of your star players. He fumbled twice.
Yes, you can. He fumbled twice and cost the game.
Remember something. These players control how long your career is. And if you treat them like shit, they're going to perform less, man. These are millionaires that don't have to go out there and give them it all.
Bring me back Sean Payton. Bring me back Sean Payton. Bring me back Sean Payton.
Why do you think Sean Payton left? He saw what was coming.
Hey, Commanders and Giants. Big game for the Giants. I think the Giants need to win this game, but I'm taking Taylor Heineke. He's going to go into New York and win that game, baby.
Yes, I think the losing streak continues for the Giants.
I agree.
Wow.
I go back. I'm taking the Giants. I think the Giants, because they are getting healthy, they're going to get some guys back. Against the Cowboys, they had 4 offensive linemen out. Some big defensive players were out, so they might get a little healthy. And we'll see what happens. I think the Giants have enough weapons to do it.
We don't got to pick a winner here, but Browns versus Texans, how well do you think Deshaun Watson plays this week?
Not well. I think
it's a good game to come back. It's a good game to come back.
True.
I think he throws for like 190 passing yards, maybe 2 touchdowns, maybe 1 pick kind of game, like nothing crazy.
I think he's gonna rush. He's gonna rush more than he throws.
Or they go off, go to the playoffs.
Now you've got a good enough rushing team, anyways. He shouldn't throw more than 25 times as it is.
You have 3 good running backs now.
Yeah.
All right, this is a big game though.
Option.
Jets going into Minnesota, like we just talked about. 7-4 Jets going against the 9-2 Vikings.
I'm taking the Vikings.
Don't mess this up, Vikings.
I'm taking the Vikings. I think the Vikings are going to win this game. I think it's going to be a close game again. I just think that the Jets have a really, really good defense. But I think, let's face it, Justin Jefferson is the best receiver in the NFL. He has the most 100-yard games receiving in his first 3 years of his career. He has 21. He just passed Randy Moss and somebody else. He leads the NFL in
Odell. I think it was Odell and Randy.
Yes. They have 19. He passed them, so he leads the NFL in votes for the Pro Bowl or whatever. So, we talked about this before we came on. We haven't had an offensive player other than a quarterback win the MVP since 2016. Cooper Kupp is the first receiver to get any MVP votes in 20 years. I think it's time for a change. Either that or we need another offensive award because this guy, he's on pace to freaking just have an amazing year.
And he had that catch that he made against the Bills, that fourth, like that's what you need, like an iconic play. And that was kind of it. If you're going to give it to somebody outside of a quarterback. I also like the Vikings. I really am looking forward to whether or not Sauce Gardner is going to be matched up one-on-one man coverage all day against Jefferson. I think that would be kind of sweet. Just to kind of see play out throughout the game. But I gotta expect that the Vikings not dominate. It'll be a close game, but they're gonna pull it out.
I like the Vikings here, man. I like Justin Jeffries. I like Justin Jefferson, man. I like the offense, but I love Mike White, baby. I love that defense. I gotta take a hot pick every week, baby. I'm going with New York, baby. I'm going with the Jets going into Skull Town, baby.
Look, I gotta tell you something. I'd rather see if anyone has to be number 1 in the NFC. I want to. If it's gonna be anyone other than the Cowboys, I want to see the Vikings do it. So I gotta keep rooting for the Vikings.
I like the Vikings, man, but I like the underdog story, man. I want the Jets to continue that ride on, baby. Let's ride. Let's see what's another big one here. I mean, hey, the Eagles are playing a tough one against the Titans with a Derrick Henry rush. Can they stop the rush game? Can Ryan Tannehill, move on? It's in Philly. So that's huge for the Eagles.
It seems like they're always in Philly.
I know.
Yeah, no kidding.
I guess I'll take the Eagles on this one. I really would like to see the Titans win this one, but I feel like I have to go with the Eagles with just how well they've been playing.
I think it's going to be the Eagles as well. I think, you know what?
Yeah.
I think Tennessee is one-dimensional. They don't have a good passing game. And so you load the box and stop Derrick Henry and force Tannehill to win with his arm. He's not going to do it. I just think the Eagles are going to be 11-1, unfortunately.
Yeah, play the tape yesterday again. What the Bengals did to the Titans. Play that. Watch that tape. If you're the Eagles, and you should be all right. Sadly, I think the Eagles are going to win that one too.
Last
Yeah,
one we'll do.
Play your safeties down low, man. Take away the run, and that's all you got to do is make Tannehill try to beat you.
Last one we'll do here, which I feel like is always a great game to watch. You have Kansas City, who's 9-2, going into Ohio to play the Cincinnati Bengals, who are 7-4. And the Bengals play well against Kansas City. I'm feeling a Cincinnati win with this one. I really am. As good as the Chiefs are, and they'll probably go to the Super Bowl again this year. And I feel like everyone's gonna pick them. Those are my two upset picks, if you want to call them upsets. The Jets beating the Vikings and the Bengals beating the Chiefs.
I like those. I could see that happening, and that's what, a rematch of the championship game last year too.
Yep, same spot.
Chiefs. I got to go with Chiefs. I don't know why. I just feel like offensively,
such a villain.
I'm going Cincy. I just think, Cincy's won 3 in a row now without Jamar Chase. I mean, their offense is clicking. They're playing solid. They're protecting their quarterback more. They have a good defense and a good enough defense to get them back to the Super Bowl. I just think this is who they were last year, and they're stealing wins, and they're getting better and getting more confident. I'm saying Cincy.
Last thing we'll talk about here is the game that's currently about to kick off at any minute or already has.
What about Cowboys? Who do they?
They're playing the Colts. I mean, let's all just whisper it. I'm taking the Cowboys.
Cowboys next 3 games are against the Colts, Jags, and Texans. They're combined.
Those are your next 3 games. Those are your next 3 games. Might as well just get to the Super Bowl while we're at it.
If we don't go 3-0, this is our season. If we don't go 3-0 here, you might as well just say goodbye to the Eagles and it's done. But I think the Cowboys should have enough to get it done.
I'm taking an Indianapolis win tonight. They're gonna go into J World down there next week and get a W. Just kidding. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Hold the bells. Hold the bells.
Pick whoever you want.
I know I can pick whoever I want. I don't take that crazy with hot picks, but I do think the Colts will beat Pittsburgh tonight. I think Saturday's gonna get a second win. They should have got it last week too, but they didn't.
Yeah, they're playing better with them, and I mean, you just got to look offensively. The Steelers, like Matt Ryan versus
Kenny
Pickett. Yeah, I know they're not going against each other, but it's like I kind of trust Ryan to make more decisions, and hopefully they'll pound the ball with Taylor. It's going to be a tough game because the Steelers with Watt back and that defensive front is obviously going to try to stop the run. So I like the Colts too, though.
I think the Colts have too much. I think the Steelers will get better as the years go by, but right now they're just all over the place, and you can't expect a rookie quarterback to dig you out by himself. They need help. So it's gonna be. I want to watch this game because I want to see exactly what I'm in for the stress level next Sunday night.
Yeah, there's 9 minutes left, and the Steelers just kicked a field goal to take the lead 3-0.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I was gonna say that.
Well, you guys got anything else? Got anything left?
Sixers are 3-1 right now, number 6 seed with all their injured players. Joel Embiid did come back tonight, so
huge win against the Nets.
Yeah. So the Flyers have lost 10 in a row, so there's not much to talk about there. They're just a hot mess. Other than the nice brawl they had against the Islanders, they're just giving up too many goals a game. So that's what I got.
Well, guys, we hope you enjoy our podcast.
We may have a radio personality from Minnesota on soon. I'm waiting to hear back. So cross our fingers he can get back to us.
Well, we got some big games to root for this week. So let's go Michigan and
let's
get
go
to that championship game.
I'll be at a dance while that game's going on.
Nice. What kind of dance are we talking?
I never go to dances. My girlfriend invited me to be her date for her college dance, and of course, I'm not gonna
square
say
dance.
No,
square dance.
Nah. Well, we hope you guys have enjoyed this podcast. Listen to our lovely voices in your eardrums. As always, we say let's ride into the sunset, as Russell Wilson is. I just currently going down real fast.
Dude, it's so funny being out here listening to these freaking newscasters talk about how bad they are. You know what? I say this at work all the time. You have a new coach, a new coordinator, a new quarterback, and a lot of injuries. How are you going to freaking expect this guy to take you to a championship?
Yep.
Not happening. I'm
sorry. Everyone thought going in they were one player away or one position.
Keep riding. They're going to be there. Don't worry. Hey, well, we hope you guys enjoy your night. Hope you had a great Thanksgiving, and we'll see you guys on next week.
Peace.